Porsche Panamera is extremely exciting. Why? Well, finally, it actually looks good. No longer is the rear end of a car an ugly, bulbous, awkward version of a 911. It has its own distinct styling, it's razor sharp, and it's as sleek as it is fast. This Panamera is poised for success in the automotive world. This is the second generation of the Panamera. The first was built between 2010 and 2016, and while it was very fast and it handled well, it was simply ugly. Now, some people still believe this second generation is ugly, but to each their own. I actually really like it. Wow. Under the hood of this Panamera Turbo is a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8. The turbos are actually mounted in between the cylinder banks to reduce exhaust gas travel. That means less turbo lag and an overall better driving experience. Total output 550 horsepower and 567 pound-feet of torque. That is a lot, and I imagine because of the twin-turbo setup that a quick tune will boost it much, much higher. The Turbo S coming out in the future is rumored to have a hybrid powertrain that runs in conjunction with this 4-liter twin-turbo V8, making 680 horsepower. That's insane. Now, horsepower means nothing without weight, transmission, traction, and all that. The Panamera Turbo weighs 4,400 pounds, in comparison to the BMW M760i, which weighs 5,200 pounds. That's a lot less. Now, it's not exactly a super lightweight sedan, but they have used a generous amount of aluminum to keep the weight lower than its competitors like the S-Class 7 Series or A8. The transmission is wonderful. An 8-speed dual-clutch PDK that shifts so fast, so sharply, that you couldn't ask for anything better. Especially in a luxury sedan, it feels shocking that they would include a transmission this good, and I really appreciate that. It's also all-wheel drive, which means it's faster off the line and you can use it in inclement weather. No need to store it away during winter months. All this together means 0 to 60 happens in 3.6 seconds. Now with the Sport Chrono package, it happens in 3.4. Those numbers are according to Porsche, however, and as we all know, they're very conservative, so I wouldn't be surprised if Motor Trend or Car and Driver test this car to be under 3 seconds. It is very fast. The interior has been completely redesigned as well, and that's a good thing because the previous generation Panamera had, well, basically a keyboard slapped onto the center console. That's how many buttons it felt like. It was very difficult to navigate, and honestly, you got lost. Instead, we've got a bunch of touch buttons that give you a little bit of feedback that's extremely pleasing. Click the Sport Mode button and you get this very satisfying click. Same with the 3-way adjustable shocks. We've got air suspension with Normal, Sport, and Sport Plus modes. When it's in Normal, it rides over bumps extremely well. When it's in Sport or Sport Plus, it handles and has less body roll than anything else on the market of this size. We've got 2 lovely buttons for the climate control. They're these knurled metal toggle switches, one for the temperature control and the other for the fan speed. In addition, we've got climate controls in the 12.3-inch touchscreen in the center here. You're able to move the fan, change the location and direction of the fan pointing via a touchscreen. And then the motors actually move the direction of the fan below. You can't actually do it manually. That's pretty trick. Going into drive settings here, we can choose between Sport and Normal for the driving mode. You can also do individual where you customize the entire thing. Like I said before, the suspension, Normal, Sport, and Sport Plus. We've also got spoiler control. I'm not sure if you can see in the back there, but look, it raises. The active spoiler is extremely cool. I'll talk more about that in the 5 crazy features of the Panamera Turbo. In front of me is a large analog tachometer. Very easy to read, and it has cursive letters saying turbo like you'd expect. Just in case you forgot, after spending a minimum of $150,000 on your Porsche Turbo, that you in fact have a Porsche Turbo. To the left and the right of the analog tachometer are digital displays, 7 inches each. Interestingly, they're actually almost too large. The steering wheel cuts off the side of either one. so you can't see all the way out to the edge. But they're customizable and the graphics are fantastic. If you move a toggle on the right part of the steering wheel, you can switch to navigation. You've got a full navigation screen on the right side of the instrument cluster. You can also see all your trip information as well as coolant temp, battery voltage. On the left, we've got a digital speedometer. You can also see the distance of the car ahead of you on the screen as well. It's got active lane keep assist as well as adaptive cruise control. And something really cool that's unfortunately not available in the United States is Porsche's InnoDrive. This is able to use the navigation to look up to a couple miles ahead of you to see if there's bends in the road and prepare the car to downshift into the right gear, apply the brakes, use the right suspension settings for the road conditions. If you put it in sport mode, it'll even downshift more aggressively, and if you pass a car, it'll accelerate more aggressively as well. That is Porsche's answer to semi-autonomous driving. Now, Porsche says they don't want to partake in the autonomous driving revolution. They want driverless cars, not cars that drive themselves. And that makes a lot of sense. I think it would be very cool if Porsche stays away from that and stays dedicated to the driving enthusiasts. I do imagine in the future, though, in order to stay competitive and in order to make money, of course, Porsche is a business, they will probably make some fully autonomous cars. Maybe the SUVs and the sedans, not so much in the 911 or Cayman or Boxster range. The interior materials and design language is top-notch. Everything feels nice to the touch. These leather seats are very comfortable. If you want to go completely crazy and spend over $7,000, you can get deviated stitched leather that's apparently better than this, although I can't imagine that that would be worth the upgrade. Optional upgrades that might be worth considering is the Burmester 3D audio system. That is one of the best sound systems ever created. Also, sports package. That comes with rear wheel steering from the 911 to make it more nimble. The rear wheel steering actually goes at opposite directions at slow speeds in order to, in a sense, shorten the wheelbase of the vehicle and make it turn more easily. At high speeds, the wheels turn in the same direction to enhance stability. It also comes with the Sports Chrono package, which gives you Sport Plus mode for the transmission and throttle response, but more importantly, it gives you race starts, aka launch control, aka what I would do at every stoplight with a Porsche Panamera Turbo with the Sport Chrono package. It also gives you a little lap timer, although I can't really imagine anyone would ever use that in a Panamera, maybe a GT3. There's actually a good amount of legroom in the back. I'm 5'11", and sitting behind my seat, I was able to have 7 or 8 inches of legroom, no problem. Headroom, I probably had about 3 inches, so if you're above 6'2", it might be a little bit of a struggle, but for anyone smaller than that, plenty of space in the Panamera. We've got 2 sunroofs. Both are able to be controlled by either the front or the back, with controls up here or back there in the rear seat. Now, there are some rear seat options that aren't equipped on this model. This is a rather base Panamera Turbo, like rear seat entertainment, a touchscreen that can control climate control as well as the seat settings, heated and cooled rear seats, massaging seats, so on and so forth. We don't have those here. It's funny, Porsche has so many options, many of which are very cool, some of which are a little bit weird, that jack the price up of these cars to an absurd level. They don't want you to spend $150 grand, which is the base price of a Panamera Turbo. They want you to spend $220,000. And I don't blame them. And also, the person buying a $150,000 sedan as a daily driver potentially has some extra cash laying around so that they can upgrade and get every option they want. These, however, are a little weird. You want your key painted? $500. Do you want USB outlets in the back, something that comes on a compact $15,000 sedan? $420. Carbon ceramics, over $8,000. Leather options, over $7,000. Speaker system, over $5,000. Yeah, it adds up quick. The thing is, it handles and drives so well, you don't really care about the price. Well, no, you still care about the price, but maybe less so. This is better handling and more fun to drive than any of its competitors, whether it's the Tesla Model S, the S-Class, the A8, or the 7 Series. The only real competitor that I see with the Panamera is the Model S. The reason being is they're more focused on performance, incredibly fast in a straight line, decent handling around corners. The other German rivals, well, they're more focused on luxury, which is totally fine. A lot of people like that. But for somebody who wants a large, practical, yet comfortable and luxurious sedan that's also incredibly fast and fun to drive, The Panamera is kind of the ultimate option. And oh my God, when you flick some downshifts and you floor it, oh, and those turbos kick in. In the lower RPM ranges, it doesn't have all that much power, but you can feel after 4,000 RPMs, it comes alive and surges you back into your seat. Downshifts when in sport mode are as fast as possible. I mean, it almost shifts too fast. Oh. One very common complaint I have with cars as expensive as 458 Spyders, is the paddles. In the Panamera, absolutely no complaints. They're in the right spot, 9 and 3, they're mounted to the steering wheel, and they're made of a brilliant metal material that's not flexible whatsoever. They feel sturdy, they feel quality, it feels like a Porsche. Oh my God. When that boost kicks in, this thing is so fast. Oh, that acceleration is addicting. One complaint I do have, the standard exhaust is way too quiet. Now I know it's a luxury car, but you can tell the V8 would sound magnificent with a better exhaust. Of course, that's an option. The sports exhaust, highly recommend it, pretty much mandatory option. This one doesn't have it fitted, and I think it's a little bit too quiet. So how much is all this going to cost you? Well, a base model Panamera, a non-turbo, starts at 85 grand. You can get a Panamera 4S, which starts at 103 grand, and then up to the turbo, which starts at 150. Upcoming is the new Turbo S, which is rumored to have a hybrid powertrain and an output of 680 horsepower. That'll be ridiculous. But the best part is the introduction of the Panamera Turbo Sport Turismo. That's an incredibly long and fancy name, which means it's a very sexy wagon. There's something incredible about a high horsepower wagon that looks good, and I'm excited for that. That starts at 154 grand, definitely worth the 4K upgrade over the normal Panamera. In summary, the Panamera Turbo is incredibly fast, and it is cut and dry the driver's choice for a large luxury sedan. It handles so well, and it's so much better than the competition in terms of all-out performance, other than straight line acceleration compared to the Model S P100D, that if you love sports cars and you need something practical as a daily driver and need all-wheel drive, the Panamera Turbo just makes so much sense. So with that, special thanks to Fred Lavery Porsche of Birmingham, Michigan for making this video possible. This car is available there now. Check out their website, link in the description below. I look forward to seeing you next video.